my name is Justice Gilbert, and today I'm going to inform all of you how to become YouTube famous. Not that I know how, but like personally. A way to become famous on YouTube, there's 3 ways, is 1, by being dedicated to your channel, be willing to show the world who you are, and by being discovered by someone known by the public. A relevant fact on becoming YouTube famous is that if you didn't already know, YouTube pays through the Google AdSense model, and MetaCafe uses its ad revenue and venture capital to fund a partner program. So basically what this is saying is there's money in hits. So the more hits you have, if you're in one of these programs, you receive more money. So if you're dedicated to becoming famous and getting more views, you can also be making bank at the same time. A relevant stat would be in January of 2008, which is about 5 years ago, nearly 79 million viewers watched over 3 billion videos on YouTube. So we all know that YouTube is constantly growing and becoming more popular, and more people are using it, and there's tons more videos on there. So if you're wanting to become famous, YouTube is the place to do it. And it's the easiest place because you can do it on your own. You don't have to audition or anything. You can do whatever you want and put it up there. A relevant example, we all know this from years ago, when Rebecca Black's first music video, Friday, was posted on YouTube, Rebecca assumed only her family and close friends would see it. She was wrong. A few famous comedians tweeted about the video. In just 2 weeks, the number of views rose from 3,000 to 50 million. She was an instant celebrity. So, one of the best ways to become very known on YouTube is being discovered by someone known. And Rebecca Black was discovered by 2 comedians that were very popular during that time, and they tweeted about her. And personally, because I have a YouTube channel, I have been trying to get Ellen to see my videos. I've emailed her multiple times, and I've had my friends email her too, like links to my videos and stuff. So pretty soon I'm going to be on her show. But a relevant piece of expert testimony would be, success on the video sharing website requires dedication along with a willingness to show a personal side that some might loathe to reveal. This quote is from Lisa Donovan, which is the co-founder marker in July 2009 with CEO Danny Zapp. So basically this quote is saying that viewers can see right through you, like if you're being fake on YouTube, because YouTube is such a personal website. You're taking videos of yourself and everything. It's not like you have a script and you're acting as someone else. Like, you're being you, and viewers can tell that immediately. So if you want to become famous on YouTube, you don't want to be a fake, because your viewers will see right through that. And also, you want to be dedicated to your channel, because if you become lazy and stop making videos, then you'll start receiving less views because nothing new is happening on your channel. And I've experienced that too, because I haven't posted a video in a while now, because my friend Juliana and I are split apart and we make the videos together. And so our views have gone down, because whenever we do upload a new video, we post it on Facebook and pretty much kind of advertise it if we can. And when that happens, we're constantly getting more and more views, and then over time it kind of slows down. So there's a cycle to it. And if you're not remaining dedicated to your YouTube channel, then slowly people will stop becoming interested because they've seen all your videos already. And also that's how you can get new subscribers. If you're constantly updating your videos and putting new ones up, then more people will find you. And so those are 3 ways to become YouTube famous. Thank you for your time.
Panel?
I have a question. If you don't know anyone famous, then how do you get people to watch it?
Like, you get discovered by someone famous. Like, you don't have to know them personally. Like, Rebecca Black didn't know the 2 comedians, so they found her on YouTube and then tweeted about it.
Oh, okay.
Do you think it's fair that people like those videos, like the Fox video? Do you think it's fair that they get paid for that? Because it's like ridiculous.
I have Justice. You don't have to answer their questions, but these might be things that you consider for your presentation later.
You mentioned, excuse me, you mentioned money and like how people can get rich. I think maybe you should explain a little bit more about the people, how much money they actually made, like the people who were actually famous from this, explain what they did, how many views they got, something.
Yeah, and then you could give more facts about the top subscribed now, check the top subscribed people right now.
Oh, okay. I remember you saying something about how you post videos on Facebook to try and get it advertised. Do you think that's the quickest, most efficient way for you to, get more people to see your videos, or do you think there could be a quicker method to do that?
All very good questions. Thank you, panel. Good job, panel. Now, the rest of the class, do you understand how the panel works? Does that make more sense to you now that you've seen it in action? Okay. Very good, panel. And again, to the speaker, you don't have to answer their questions. You may choose to answer their questions if you're able to answer briefly, but you don't have to, because these are things that you could use to expand your discussion of this topic should you choose to use the same topic for informative speech, which I recommend you do, because why start over if you've already done this research and you have this input that you can use to expand it further, right? Okay, next person.
Hey guys. Okay, my speech is to inform and demonstrate to y'all how to do butterfly. I didn't do much research on it because, I am the expert on this. Well, but I did get all my little points and stuff. But I got a relevant statistic that says in December of 2012, the U.S. government found that over 3 million people visit a swimming pool regularly throughout the country, but only 20% of them are able to swim a whole lap of an Olympic pool without stopping. So, since it's a very big deal to me for people to know how to swim, I'm going to teach y'all how to do it. The first step, the kick and undulation, set the stage for the entire stroke. Since the whole butterfly is just like that or whatever, you need to learn the undulation first. My relevant fact, I think this is the fact, Dalby and Alderman in the fall of 1999 wrote an article called Butterfly Quick Steps, and they said that each stroke has a specific emphasis that when done right holds the key to perfect technique. In the butterfly, the key is to hold your ground and utilize your center of gravity, that's your core, and the principle we use to propel our bodies is undulation. So that moves, in my informational speech, whenever we do that, I'll tell y'all how that moves, whatever, the water and stuff like that. The next one is the pull, whenever your arms come around like this, and the way that your arms move like that, and all this stuff. So that's the next step. And then after you get down the undulation and the pull, then you put your breath in it. And I got a fact that says in 2011, Rosalind Frazier wrote in an article called Swim Your Butt Off, saying that the timing of a breath is important to perfect because it can often compromise the stroke. And I guess an example of that is in the 2008 Olympics, Michael Phelps, he only won the 100 butterfly by 0.01 second because he didn't take a breath and the other guy took the breath, and so if he had taken that breath he probably would have lost. So he used his breath and put it in the right place for a good finish. Once you have learned and perfected the butterfly, it's important to never forget the technique because if you forget technique, then you can't do it, obviously. In an interview with Phil Witten in January of 2004, Eddie Reese, who's the head coach at the University of Texas, and he was also, I think, a 7-time Olympic head coach, he said, never forget technique is the most important by far part of swimming. Obviously. But he's a really good coach, and I really like him. I wanted to swim under him. But I have a lot more to fill in whenever I give my informational speech, so you should all be very excited about that. And my name is Natalie. Xavier. Thank you for your time.
I would maybe, for the next speech, at the beginning of it, maybe explain exactly what the butterfly is a little bit more, for that person don't know.
Okay.
Don't know, feel non-stubborn.
And then you could say which stroke you think is the fastest, like you think the butterfly's the fastest, some of the times like that.
Yeah, like what Haley said, like how important is that? Or like how hard is that to do if you're like what level is that on, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
I would say like with one of Michael Phelps, I had a little bit more statistics how fast he was and how how he perfected it. But we get like a few swimmers who perfected it and regularly well.
And maybe explain like the dimensions of how big the pool is.
Oh, a big size pool. It's 50 meters.
We lost our person.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you very much.
He's a jerk.
Okay, my name is Maitlyn and I will be speaking to you on the importance of freedom of speech in our country. Freedom of speech is important to every single American, no matter what age, race, or background you come from, because it's like a building block to our country's foundation. Freedom of speech is the foundation of everything that America stands for, and all the rights are to protect the freedom of speech and fought from government intervention, and that means it keeps us Americans from keeping the government from taking our rights away from us. Freedom of speech is what makes America a free country and is the building block to the American dream that many other countries around us don't have. So they look up to us because of the freedom of speech that we've been granted. The First Amendment's protection of freedom of speech and expression is central to the concept of the American political system. In 2012, 70% of Americans agreed that people should have the right to free speech, even if that means it's super, super, super offensive. But I think that creates constructive criticism, which helps our country, just help people be opinionated, and that creates equality in our country. An example is in the wake of 9/11, the Patriot Act gave the U.S. government new powers to investigate individuals suspected of being a threat, raising fears for civil liberties by sharing their opinions of their fears. George Washington said, if freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent may be led like sheep to the slaughter. This means that it just reflects the expression that if government takes away our speech, it's not just taking away the actual language that we have to speak towards other people or groups of people. It takes away everything else that it grants for us. Freedom of speech just may seem that it only stands for one thing, but it's also expressive and can cause freedom of speech is symbolic because it creates, I'm super nervous, I don't know why. It also is directly linked with freedom of religion. You're free to express your religion of choice, so therefore, if the government ever removed freedom of speech, it includes many civil liberties that just 3 words of the English language uses to express the thought.
Maybe I would use an example about how the freedom of speech was taken. I don't know if you said that.
Yeah, you can use an example of a historical story of how it came to be in our country.
Maybe elaborate on the effects of free speech and how they put it into context.
Yeah, how freedom of speech affects us, and how some things we can't say even though we have the freedom to, and stuff like that.
We have a recent story in the news that was been controversial for something music and speech.
Good, thank you.
Hi, my name is Haley Burgess, and I'm going to talk to you about 5 things that impacted the gaming world. How many of you guys like to play video games? Well, if you're like me, you like to see the history of it and how it all began. And there are 5 events in the video game history that I consider to be the most impacting changes that led to the cool video games that we have today. The points I'm going to hit on are first of all, the first home console is everyone thinks it's Pong. I go and I was talking to my friends and they're like, oh, you're going to talk about Pong? I was like, well, it wasn't the first, it was actually the second. The Magnavox Odyssey was the first, and it was this huge thing that you just plugged in and it had one game on it. And, I don't know. I feel sorry for them back in 1972. And the Atari Pong came out in 3 years after that. And it just blew everyone out of the water. And actually, if you watch WALL-E, that's what he plays with Eva. So that's what he plays with her, just watch the movie, it's on there. And so yeah, it was the first commercial home game console. And the second one is 3D graphics. Actually, the first game to have 3D graphics was Super Mario 64 for Nintendo 64. And I actually didn't know that, but it impacted the gaming world so much that it just set the standard for how games were made after that. That they saw that how good that Nintendo's graphics were, and were like, whoa, we're gonna start doing that. So some statistics are 67% of U.S. households play video games, 40% of gamers are female, and 51% of U.S. households own an average of 2 games. And the top reasons why gamers say they purchase a computer or video game is quality of game graphics, an interesting storyline, a sequel to a favorite game, and word of mouth. And the top 5 selling games of 2012 were Call of Duty Black Ops 2, obviously, Madden NFL 13, Halo 4, Assassin's Creed 3, and Just Dance 4. And all of these games use the same principles that games from the late 80s and early 90s started. Shigeru Miyamoto, a Japanese video game designer and producer for Nintendo, he's sometimes called the father of modern video gaming, and he is best known as the creator of some of the best-selling, most critically acclaimed, most enduring, and most influential games and franchises of all time. He says, this is the entertainment industry, so game designers have a creative mind and also have to be able to stand up against the marketing people at their company. Otherwise, they cannot be creative. There are not many people who fit that description. So, yeah. Some other points I'm going to hit on are the first-person shooters like GoldenEye, if you played that on Nintendo 64. The first-person shooters, just the view of your gun. I feel bad for talking about guns. I love your gun. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about that and the evolution of also voice dialogue. I have some interesting facts about that too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Shigeru Miyamoto also said video games are bad for you. That's what they said about rock and roll. So thank you for your time.
Okay. You can talk about more about the positive and negative effects of actual video games when they can do someone, whether it's good or bad.
I myself don't know much about video games, but when we talk about 3D graphics, I think maybe we should define a little bit more about what the 3D graphics are and how it affects the game.
And the one that you said, the very first one or whatever, you should say what kind of game it was. You said it was in a big box or whatever, but was it pinball or whatever, or was it an actual on the TV or something?
Maybe different types of video games.
Maybe you could contrast a bit more how these video games now. Okay.
I had that prepared for my next speech. Yeah.
You ready?
Ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do this. I told you guys before, I love baseball, so obviously I'm going to talk about baseball. Do it all day. Today I'm going to inform you on not only the effects that HGH/steroids had on baseball, but the effects that it had on the people who watched and the stats they put up. early on, and it began usually in the 1990s where it started to come out. I know most of you guys heard maybe, you know, the guys like Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. They came up in the game, and when they first came into the game, it was in a time where baseball was looked down. It was looked down upon throughout sports, and the fans weren't really watching because what they just went through was a lockout. And usually lockouts pertain to stuff that they want more money. And when these two guys came up, they came up to being a home run battle for the ages. It was to a point where they were hitting 72 home runs in a complete season, and that blew everybody out the water. Everybody was like, oh, let's go watch baseball. You know, it kind of brought baseball back. The sad thing about that time and what came out later on was that Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa soon came out to be steroid users. And it didn't just stop with them. It came out with Roger Clemens, who was automatic Hall of Fame. Automatic. Came up, 24-year career. Came up in 1996. This is all from BaseballReference.com. Came up in 1986. He finished his career with a 354 and 184 career record. He finished his career with a 3.12 ERA. That was unseen in a 24-year career, and over 4,000 strikeouts, 4,672 strikeouts to be exact. He ended his career with 7 Cy Young awards, which is the best pitcher in baseball, and an MVP award and Rookie of the Year with 11 All-Star selections. When he came up and when they found out about his steroids, he went to trial in 2008, and when they found out that it was true that he was doing steroids, once again, it brought baseball back down. It was looked at as players can't be trusted anymore, and now they're going to be tested every other day because they're doing something good. And then a recent example of steroids messing up the integrity of baseball would be, I don't know if you guys know Ryan Braun. He came out last year and stared face into the camera and exactly said, if I had done this intentionally or unintentionally, I'd have been the first one to admit it. I truly believe this substance never entered my body. He stared right into the camera and just said a bold-faced lie. In that bold-faced lie, he was saying basically his MVP award that he won the year before was won basically on his talents and his, how well he played. When in likely he played on steroids and ended up killing the integrity of the game. Once again, proving the point of most fans of how they can't trust baseball anymore. And now throughout baseball, baseball has dropped to number 3 in America behind football and basketball. So it's taken a huge toll, not really a huge toll, but taken a toll with the fans. So thank you for your time. Have a good one.
Do you think it does kill the integrity of the game? Do you think some athletes take steroids intentionally to build up their fame, even though they're going to get negative attention from that?
Oh, negative attention from it?
Even though after they get their fame and people find out that they've actually been on steroids, they're going to get that kind of
Well, most of these players aren't playing baseball anymore. They're steroids, so they don't have any money, don't have any income really right now.
If baseball is under football and basketball, like you said, then why is it still called America's pastime?
That's a silly from a long time ago.
You could talk about players coming back from steroids having a pretty big impact on the game. I know Josh Hamilton stopped taking it. He's still a good player in the game. Talk about Alex Rodriguez and people who are still doing good.
You can tell why it's called American.
I think personally what helped me is when you mention a name or something, so that team they're from or something, because they're just in this team,
I'm sorry.
Good job, everybody. Remember, you don't have to answer the questions from the panel, but these are things for you to consider when you're developing the topic further. Good job.
Okay. Today my purpose is to inform you all about nutritional athletic supplements. Nutritional athletic supplements are very widely used today, particularly in college football and high school football. My specific purpose is to inform you all about the many different types of nutritional athletic supplements and how they may become of use whether you're in sports playing, whether it is on the competition level or the amateur athletic level. According to the NCAA, in December of 2010, over 430,000 students registered in the NCAA were known nationwide. And also with regards to the International Journal of Sports Nutrition, 89% of those college amateur athletic students, both male and female, were using nutritional athletic supplements for their enhancement on the field, at whatever sport they were playing. And in fact, these athletic supplements were known as whey protein, creatine, amino acids, glutamine, and multivitamins, and a number of others. According to the Guide of Nutrition and Dietary Supplements, there are 3 main supplements primarily used by collegiate athletes and high school athletes, particularly because the main 3 sports are football, basketball, and baseball / softball. And those are whey protein, creatine, and amino acids. And all 3 have very distinct different uses. And those uses may have a big part on what particular sport you're playing and how they can help you further your game on the field. A brief example of the different effect that a supplement may have on an athlete is, say you're a basketball player and you're very tall and you want to get stronger because you're playing down low and a lot of guys or females are punishing you down in the paint, and you just need to get stronger. So you're hitting the weight room a lot, you're constantly going at it, and you just need something to push you in the weight room harder. So you take it upon yourself to go find a supplement. Here's where supplements can be of use, but here's how you can also use them to help yourself, or hurt yourself, or can help yourself. Say you want to get bigger and you decide you want to take a supplement, you want to know if I should use creatine or should I use whey protein. Well, first thing you should take into account is, what is my objective? And what your main objective is to get yourself out there as quick as possible every single day after practice, or for practice rather, and make sure that you're helping your team in any way possible. So I would say that you would want to go ahead and use whey protein, because that's what most athletes, according to the NCAA, also in a recent study in 2012 actually notified that over 73% of collegiate athletes that were in the Basketball Association were using whey protein to help benefit themselves, and that led to a lot of those great teams' success. And so a relevant piece of expert testimony comes from Jennifer Nicole Lee, and she's a fitness model, and she discovered that, end quote, "My method and overall perception of supplements has changed over time as I did my research." In other words, she's basically saying, I didn't know why I was taking supplements until I started to do my research and see which ones I needed to use. So that's how supplements can be helpful to you, and that's how you can decipher which ones that you need to be taking and which ones that you shouldn't be taking. Thank you for your time.
Did that girl, I don't know her name, but what kind does she use?
Well, she said at the beginning, I remember reading the article, she said at the beginning that she was using like all sorts of types of supplements. So she was using, I'm guessing she was using protein, amino acids, creatine, and multivitamins, of course, just to give her a basic energy so that she could do.
No, but I mean which type of, because there's so many different brands and stuff like that.
She said she was using like different brands. Well, the article said she was using brands of all types because she didn't really care. She just wanted something that was going to help her every single day. But
Okay, you can talk about how specific, how you have to be specific with your intake. It's not just taking a supplement and getting results.
Yeah.
And let's talk about using water and.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Exactly.
Maybe use some of the brands and maybe use some of the nutritional facts and protein and some of the stuff that's in there that really helps build muscles.
That'd be helpful.
Also, with doctors and fitness trainers feel like the best brand is.
Yeah. Okay.
Which one they want to take especially.
Yeah.
I would do an example of someone who has taking those or something that's meant to help them because they don't remember.
That'd be helpful.
Very good. Good job, everybody. Did you guys want to stay there? Okay.